Welcome back. Welcome back. Get started in a little bit.
Ms. Dean, can you hear me okay? Dr. Dean?
Hey, welcome.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Good,
That's where I'm gonna get started in a minute.
not a problem.
So welcome everyone. Thank you for being here. I want to, as we get started, and we know the others will be coming in, but I also want to remind everyone that this is on being played on YouTube. You can go to our YouTube channel. I'll give you all that information later. So that you can replay it if you want to, share it with your neighbors and fellow Ward 7 residents and others as we go through this very important conversation that people really need to be engaged in and aware of this at this time in our children's lives. Just want to acknowledge and celebrate National Deaf History Month and the young people who are going through our school system who are deaf, and this is a month to bring focus on them. Jen, I want to just go through I think our meeting will end early today because the bulk of it will be with our special guests. But welcome. Then we'll hear from Joe Paul, founder and CEO of OptimaNova AI, and he's really going to talk to us about the future of education and work and the impact on AI on our lives. And so something we need not be afraid of, but absolutely engaged in because it is here, it's not going anywhere, and it's something we're going to need to learn about. We'll hear from our state board rep, Eboni-Rose Thompson. She'll bring important updates. We'll talk about the Ward 7 elections that are scheduled to happen next month, any announcements anyone may have, and we'll adjourn. So that is the schedule for today. So again, welcome to Ward 7 Ed Council. Please know that our mission is to organize, collaborate, advocate to ensure high quality community-based public education as a matter of right for Ward 7 early childhood, pre-K to 12 and adult learners. Our core values are equity, access, health and safety, joy, responsiveness. And our goals is that all Ward 7 learners deserve a high quality education. Ward 7 provides schools that are the preferred destination for Ward 7 families and to establish and protect a dedicated pre-K 12 feeder pattern in Ward 7 schools. So with that, our featured person tonight is Joe Paul. I am going to put the spotlight on Joe Paul. Joe Paul, I don't think that my introduction of you will suffice, but if you can tell us, right now you are not showing yourself, so just in case you're aware of that.
Yeah,
And
hey,
yes, and you told me you were going to have a little one with us, and this is a kid-friendly space, so we're really excited about that.
awesome.
And so if you could please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you, but I really want to spotlight you. So I'm trying to get you to the spotlight. Yeah. And really tell everyone about your history, what you do, how you came to this space, and all the things that you're engaged in. And I'm still trying to spotlight you. Why won't it let me spotlight you the way I want you to be spotlighted? Okay. So anyway, that's I'm going to stop the share.
Yep.
So that you can take over from here. There. Now you're there. So if you can please tell us about you, your work, your journey, and why this is something that you are incredibly passionate about at this point.
Well, first, I just want to say thank you so
I
much.
think you're on mute.
Uh-oh. Am I on mute? Let me see.
Okay, Dad, multitasking.
Can you hear me? Testing,
Yes, you're
testing.
on mute.
Am I really?
Oh no, you're there. I'm sorry. Okay,
Can you hear me okay?
my fault. My computer was sending sound somewhere else. Okay, got you.
But you can hear me.
I can hear you fine. Yep.
Okay, fantastic, fantastic. Well, first, I just want to say good evening. Thank you so much, Dr. Dean and members of the Ward 7 Education Council. Our neighbors, we live in Ward 5. I've been in DC for over 13 years. While I'm not a DC native, my son here is. He was born in DC and planned on being raised here. I'm Joe Paul, founder and CEO of OptimaNova AI. And tonight we're going to explore how AI is already shaping both our classrooms and our job market, and what we can do right now so every child, every person, not only in Ward 7, but across the district, can thrive. And so how did I get into this work? I didn't stumble into it. I want to share a deck, a brief presentation with everyone who's on the call so you can kind of see what my journey has been like and how we got to this point. If I may, let's see, share.
You should have sharing privileges. Yep.
You're doing a great job, buddy. You're
Okay.
doing a great job. All right. Great job. All right. So, can you see this?
Yes.
All right, fantastic. So this is OptimaNova AI. I started the company in 2023 because I truly saw where things were going with artificial intelligence. When I was running BiteBack, which many of you are familiar with BiteBack, a tech nonprofit here in DC. And one of the things that I was responsible for was making sure that we obviously redirected resources towards the organization. And so it was tough for me because we were only certifying 10% of the people who came through our doors. So what did that mean? Well, it meant that we couldn't get funding. So I dug deep and really tried to understand, one, where is everyone? Like, where is there a test that we can take to understand at least the literacy of the program participants who are coming into our program? And also we need to test our curriculum. What is our curriculum testing at? And so the curriculum was testing at almost at a senior 12th grade freshman year level. And the average reading level, we leveraged the TABE test, the average reading level for our participants was 3rd through 5th grade. And so therein lies the disconnect. So we had two options. We could have easily encouraged them to upskill and get to a 12th grade reading level, or leverage AI to create individualized learning plans, individualized learning plans that meet people where they are. So in less than 6 months, we went from 10% to almost 75% passing on the first try. And so that led me to understand, like, okay, there's something to this AI thing. AI is over 60 plus years old, but we're just now hearing more about it in the past 15 to 20 years. And so I've held a lot of titles. That's right, Mom was right there. So I've held a lot of titles. These are the ones that mean the most to me. I'll get it for you in 1 second, buddy. Right. So husband, father to my beautiful boy. That third picture was when we won Nonprofit of the Year when I was running BiteBack. And that fourth picture is I was one of 5 leaders in the world recognized at South by Southwest as an innovator in technology. So, and that's me signing one of my books at the conference. So recently, literally as recent as a month and some change ago, we were recognized by Washington Business Journal as one of 11 startups to watch in 2025. We're excited about that opportunity. And this is something I always say, look, either you're on the train or you're on the tracks. The train has already left the station. It's better for you to be on that train than to get run over. A train, that's right, right? Implementing AI is no longer a choice, but it's definitely a necessity, right? And those who don't adapt will absolutely be left behind. So the company, what do? We basically make AI technology accessible. Through training, we help other organizations implement AI. We basically make AI adoption effortless. We come in, we try to understand what's going on. We pinpoint what are the issues, what are the things that set you back, that's setting you back, and how do we apply artificial intelligence to get us where we need to be. So these are, we'll get cars in 1 second, buddy. So these are some of our staff members. If you go to OptimaNova.ai, you'll be able to see the rest of our team, including our dynamic AI agents who are co-pilots. These are not real people, which is incredible because they're not real people. These are AI generated images, but they're also attached to the avatars that help us do our work. And let's see here. Here's our implementation plan. First, we start with the assessment, right? Which everyone at this call, you'll have an opportunity to actually take the free assessment we developed to help you understand where you are on your AI journey. We train organizations, we develop them, and we deploy those tools, and then we evolve over time. Okay. So, son, stand by, please. All right. We're on a mission. Focus, focus. I'll get it for you. So,
A lot going on that screen. He's very interested. Engaged.
I know it. I know
Not
it.
discourage engagement. Okay, go ahead.
No, it's all good. It's all good. And so, these are some of our products and services that we offer. I do want to share one thing before we go to the topic at hand. Oh, son, please. So these are some of the folks that we've worked with, right? Okay. Now, I also want to share something because one thing that everybody should know about artificial intelligence is the barrier of entry is non-existent now. Okay, so I don't have a tech background. I'm not a natural coder. I don't have that background. I have a business background, operations background, executive leadership background, and I know how to solve problems. And so when you're looking at artificial intelligence, there's a way to actually reframe AI so that it's actually working for you. It's not just a digital tool, but a thought partner, right? And so AI is already here, okay? And whether you like it or not, AI is making decisions. That's the thing that keeps me up at night. AI is making decisions on our behalf without our consent in many cases, and is determining who gets into college or if you get a job or not. And so I'm going to share my screen. That's right, buddy. All right, let me play this. Let me know when you can see this.
Okay, I get.
Oh, hold on a second.
It's
Actually,
loading now. It's loading now. There it is.
you know what? I didn't share the sound. Hold on, let me share the sound because it's gonna share. Here we go. Share sound. All right. Share. All right. I'm gonna press play.
Hello, Ward 7 Educational Committee. I see you are with Joe Paul, founder and CEO of OptimaNova AI and a proud neighbor. In the next couple of minutes, I want to show why understanding artificial intelligence is urgent for every family, not only Ward 7, but throughout the district. AI already influences daily life here. Algorithms decide which resumes reach a human, how teachers flag students for extra help, which streets get faster repairs, and even how police resources are deployed. These systems work quietly in the background, so their impact is easy to miss. For vulnerable communities, that silence is risky. If the data used to train an algorithm is biased, the bias becomes policy. That can mean fewer job interviews, higher loan rates, or missed health follow-ups for the very residents who need support the most. Our training will give you 3 tools. First, learn to spot when an AI system is at work and ask who built it, who benefits, and who might be harmed. Second, practice prompt power, so you can question or correct AI outputs instead of accepting them at face value. Third, explore free resources that help parents, students, and seniors use AI safely for homework, career searches, and telehealth. Ward 7 deserves technology that lifts everyone. Join me to make sure AI serves our neighbors, not the other way around. Back to you, Joe.
All right. Fantastic. Fantastic. So now I know many of you may be wondering, but that is AI generated, right? That was not a real person. That was an AI avatar. That one of the AI avatars that we've created at the company to create promotional videos like this, to put out content, etc. The future is now. Even if you go to our website right now, you can engage with an avatar and chat as if you're talking to a human being. And so the fear of technology should really not be there, right? So when you think about AI and where we're going, you have to understand about 39% of core job skills are going to change by 2030. And what does that mean? You hear a lot of people say AI is going to take over my job, AI is going to take over. That is not accurate, right? A fair statement is people who know it's not cool. People who use AI will replace those who don't, right? That's plain and simple. It's not necessarily the robot or the AI is going to replace you. It's people who know how to leverage these tools. We've been able to grow almost 20x in 2 years because we've been leveraging artificial intelligence. And there's just literally no way we would have gotten this far if it would have taken us longer. We definitely would have gotten here, but it would have taken us longer. So a couple of things before I pause and see if we can take some questions. When you're thinking about AI in DC, I proudly serve on the mayor's behalf on the AI advisory board that the mayor put together to make sure that the city is looking at the equitable implementation of AI. And so, excuse me, son. What does that mean? It means that as we look at technology, we need to really be mindful of the fact that AI, while it's solving a lot of problems, it's actually exacerbating some that are already there. There's still some people who don't have internet access. There's still some people who don't have the necessary tools to use the internet if they did have it. And there are people who have the tools and the internet, but they don't have the training to know how to leverage it. Okay, so, right? Leverage it. You want to walk around, buddy? Okay, go ahead. I'll put those back on. All right. You've been a good sport. I'll let them walk around a little bit. All right. Put those back on, son. So, and thank y'all. You have family. In this day and age, you have to know how to be malleable and flexible. As you look at artificial intelligence, the city itself, we have to really focus our efforts around upskilling. Buddy, please. I sure appreciate the grace that y'all are showing me in Ward 7.
He's distracting you more than he's distracting us. Just
you
know
know you're right.
Okay, so just know, like, he's not really. So you're probably worried that he's
You're right.
distracting, but he's really not. So just just know that, okay?
And that's super helpful. That's super helpful. So, you got it, buddy. So the skill of the skill mix is shifting. So it's no longer just humans doing work or AI doing work. It's human doing work alongside AI, right? These repetitive tasks are automated. High value roles really demand critical thinking. So when you think about the skills that are going to be necessary for the future, it's not going to be coding. It's not going to be any technical. It's not going to be technical skills. It's going to be soft skills, right? Skills that lean towards teamwork. Excuse me a second. So skills that lead towards teamwork.
Okay, as Joe helps his son get settled, if you have questions, can you start to put them in the chat so that we'll do a live questions, but it'll also give him some idea of what's on your mind and he can speak to it as he gives his presentation. So please start to put any question you may have in the chat. I definitely have a number of questions around this conversation and how it's changing education. But keep going, Joe, please.
Yes. So, and I'll wrap up really quickly. Okay. There's some action steps that I think that everybody should be aware of. When you're dealing with artificial intelligence, AI depends on data, and data can be biased and is biased because it is by nature, right? DC recently secured almost $4 million in digital equity grants that absolutely can fund these local devices, broadband, and training to get people at least to that level before we start weighing them down with AI. And so some of the action steps when I think about what's next, AI literacy, right? We need to make sure that we embed prompt writing and data basics into after school and library programs. I mean, that should just be standard. And we need to work with the city to redirect funds towards the library and towards these after school programs to just expose our communities to AI. The second thing is the community access, right? We need to make sure that AI requires a device, right? While you can leverage your cell phone, you still need a computer to really maximize its impact. And so we need to make sure that we have community access to community members who need access to Wi-Fi or these devices, whether it's a loan program or leveraging these new grant dollars from the infrastructure bill to fund that. All right. And so another thing too is the Ward 7 AI Corp, or just a DC AI Corp I was thinking about, in terms of a policy initiative where we'd work together to train teachers and parents and high school students who will serve as navigators, AI navigators, going around to audit these local algorithms and build these neighborhood tools to make sure that it's serving our neighbors, right? And so AI is not necessarily being developed with people who look like me and many of you, but if we start now, we can absolutely make an impact, right? And so last but not least, it's going to be important for us to partner with DC employers, right? Because it's going to be a public-private partnership initiative, including the government, right? To make sure that all hands are on deck as it relates to AI implementation. So as I mentioned, AI is not going to replace people. It's definitely not going to replace people who know how to use it, right? It will replace people who ignore it. You cannot ignore AI because you don't know what it is or don't know where to start. Start now, right? And here's the other thing to keep in mind. Many of us know how to ride a bike, and we didn't learn how to ride a bike by reading about how to ride a bike, right? We got on that bike and fell many times until we caught our balance, and then we could ride smoothly. And we've never lost that way of riding a bike. So my point is, get on that bike, test out AI, ask the right questions. You literally have in your pocket an incredible tool that can give you just tremendous support. And I'll give you an example. So for example, my son, he says, he's playing around. My son, he is 2.5 years old, but even now he's engaging with artificial intelligence. Yo, well, how is that? So on our ride to school, to his academy every morning, he says, Papa, I want to talk to AI. No problem. So we put on the advanced voice feature, and we practice letters, we practice numbers, we make up stories, right? This is generative AI, so it can create stories, and we will say, hey, AI, we want you to create a story with Buster the Bus, as well as who else? Caterpillar, 2 lines. Who else would be in the story? Who else? Who else you want to be in your story? Buster. Buster. All right. So Buster's in a story. So we'll tell AI, create the story where Adonis is the hero. And it will literally do that, right, in seconds. And so when we pull up to his school, I say, okay, we're pulling up to the school. We need to leave him with some affirmations. I mean, lay it on thick, right? And so, and the AI goes, Adonis, you're a leader. You're going to be brave. You're kind. You have a great day, etc. And it really makes a difference when he hears his name and he starts smiling. So that's one use case of AI. Another use case of AI, I needed to take a 1 a day. I know I can see some of these grades. So I needed to take a 1 a day, right? And so I went to the supermarket, Mom's Organic, not too far from us, and I took pictures of the aisle with all the pills, right? And what I did was I loaded up those pictures into ChatGPT, and I said, hey, I'm over 40, XYZ, active lifestyle, so on and so forth. I need you to wire down all of these tools and all of these recommendations to 2. And it did just that, right? And it was like, okay, here are the 2. And I was like, well, where are they? Well, in the first picture, underneath this sign, it was there. And so I grabbed those 2, turn them around, took another picture of the ingredients, and I said, hey, I need you to wire it down even more, right? It says, okay, this is the one that you should choose. Now, here's the kicker. I actually created a healthcare advisor, right? That literally serves as a doctor that I can ask questions to immediately, right? And so, and you can do that, right? It doesn't take anything special, right? My mom would probably think I'm special, but it doesn't take anything special for you to actually create this and learn it. You just literally have to dive in. So, on that note, thank you.
Can I ask you a few questions?
Of course, yeah, please.
Great.
Yeah.
So I thought you were going to give your kind of demo where you do the Claude thing, where you tell it to do better, and you didn't do good enough. But let's talk about, first of all, just make sure that everybody understands algorithm. Just what is algorithm? So that people can even understand that much.
So let's see, how do we explain it so everyone can understand? So an algorithm is basically a formula that it's a bunch of if-then statements. If this happens, then go here. If this happens, then go there. So it's literally just in this if-then statements that if you do something, then something else should happen. So those are algorithms. They're formulas that guide you. So for example, an algorithm behind Netflix, when it says, hey, Dr. Dean, you might like this. And you're like, you know what, Netflix, you're right. I do like this. Well, what it's doing is it knows that you've selected these other 65 movies. It's identifying what are those things have in common. And as new movies come out, if they have these 4 things in common, you typically give those thumbs up, then they will start recommending those things. So algorithms are simply formulas that filled with if-then statements that get you basically wrapped in, right? And so, and there are dozens and dozens of algorithms, and it's not difficult to create an algorithm either. So, just know that. But any tool that you use leverages algorithms, right? YouTube, Facebook, any of those things.
And that's why you said there could be some bias because the if-thens that it promotes, if it doesn't have enough people from enough different places, cultures, backgrounds, it will start to create if-then statements that are skewed toward a particular population. Now,
Yep.
okay. Now you said generative. What did you mean by generative AI? And why? 2 questions I'm going to throw at you. You say, and you don't need a tech background to be so I'm hearing that coding is kind of a thing of the past.
Yeah, coding is a thing of the past, right?
Yeah, that's what I didn't want to say it like that, but
Well, it
I
is.
wanted
It
people to
is.
hear people. Coding
It's
is a
not
thing
a.
of the past.
So here's the thing: people who know how to code aren't just going to be phased out. That skill is necessary because those people who know how to code will now supervise the code, right? So right, and so there's still going to be human intervention that's required, and so the generative piece of artificial intelligence simply means to create, right? That's what it means. Generate, create. Generative AI means this is the type of artificial intelligence that has the ability to create something. So that's what generative AI. And the cool thing about generative AI is it creates something new every single time. So it's not just spitting out the same thing over and over. It's able to generate these new ideas, right? Generative AI. So hopefully that answers
It does, because I've actually tested that theory if it's shoots out the same thing every time. I've gone into my AI, asked a prompt, came back 10 minutes later, asked the same prompt, and I did get similar information, but not the exact same information.
for sure.
Um,
For sure. And here's
so
the thing, it matters what you ask, right? And so how you look at AI is how it looks at you. If you think it's just a tool that you can say, hey, make this email, rewrite this email, make me sound nice, to my coworkers, or create a recipe that's super basic use of this incredibly powerful tool, right? If you really want to maximize it, first things first, ask it, right? Now, here's the other thing about these tools, whether it's Claude, whether it's ChatGPT, whatever the case might be, these are all large language models. You'll hear those, the LLM, right? LLM stands for large language model, right? And what's basically happened is it's processing trillions and trillions of data points. Please don't eat that, son. Trillions. So it's processing trillions and trillions of data points at once to come up with a response that you can understand, right? Through NLP, natural language processing. So you don't need to speak the King's English or broken English or no English. It doesn't matter, right? How you communicate with it, it's able to process what you're saying and spit that back, right? And so the generative part is simply it's taking all that information and creating something new. So yeah, it won't create the same thing, but you also need to ask it, hey, what are you good for? Why would I use you? Right? In the morning, Dr. Dean, here's what I do. I have so many thoughts going through my head and things that I have to get done that I'll say, I'll turn on the advanced voice feature and I'll say, I'm going to ramble on about maybe 15 things that I need to get done and I need your help, right? So, and I go through those things. I need you to triage this list. I need you to put it in order of importance. I need you to also put together a to-do list for each of those lists. And I need you to identify where you can help me with each of these things on the list. And it spits it out in seconds, right? I have a list of things I can do and how to get it done and so on and so forth. So it's an incredible contributor to efficiency.
So let's talk about it in the situation of schools, learning, how it's going to change, how we need to know, how we learn to read, if we need to know how to read, how we learn to write, if we need to know how to write. But most importantly, it's around your knowledge understanding so that you can ask the best prompt so that you can get the best answer. So let's talk about that, because it's a different world out there in terms of teaching and learning. And then we're going to take some questions from the audience. But I really want to talk about that a little bit, because I think some of the issues we've had around reading at proficiency, writing at proficiency, math at proficiency now are different. There are different questions now with this.
Yeah, it is. And here's the thing to understand about AI in education. It's only enhancing, right? When you think about the, son, please, when you think about the what it's doing and the ability to actually leverage artificial intelligence to give everyone a personal tutor, that's a game changer, right, son? Please, hey, take this instead. That's a game changer, right? When you think about how you can leverage artificial intelligence, not just from the student perspective, but from the instructor's perspective, right? Over 56% of graduates are coming out with some experience in AI. Only 15% of managers have an understanding of AI or leverage it in some way. That's a clear disconnect, right? And so that means people are going to be supervising folks that they have no clue what they're doing. That's problematic, right? And so when you think about AI and how it can strengthen teaching and education, I talked about personalized instruction, right? And we're talking also about 24/7 homework help, right? Imagine if you had this chat-based study buddy that can break down these problems step by step with you and works with you and is patient with you and doesn't get frustrated. And if you're doing homework at 11 p.m. or 1 p.m. or it doesn't matter, you still have access to this tool, right? The teacher workload relief. Imagine if you can automate grading of quizzes or even draft or leverage AI to draft some pretty cool lesson plans or generate differentiated resources. Or I mean, it's endless, right? Teachers will have more time to really lean in and spend more time on high impact, high level interpersonal support and and so on and so forth. But you can leverage AI for so many ways. I mean, career pathing. I mean, it's endless. It's really endless, right? The not leveraging it is not the answer, right? So, right, figuring out where you fit within this revolution is going to be very, very important. You may not need to learn any new skills. You may need to ask the question, how can AI enhance the skills that I already have? Like, what am I really good at? And how can I leverage AI to be even better at that, right? So, yeah, coding is, unfortunately a thing of the past. I mean, yeah, I mean, is it a cool skill to have? Yeah, but can we leverage AI to do it? Yes. And would we? Of course, because it's going to make less mistakes. It's not going to cost you as much. Yeah, it shows up on time, you name it. So, yeah, so I'll stop there. All right.
So I'm going to take a question. It's a little bit of edu-speak in it, so I want to make sure that you understand the question. And then I know Grace has had her hand up.
Yes.
It says, and this is a teacher who is a special educator and wanted to know, will AI be able to help me write my individualized education plans? That's that's what you get when you have a student who has been identified with special needs, the interventions and supports they need, which are kind of what they talk about when they talk about plops. That's the kind of the intervention section. And will AI be able to help me write these, think about interventions that I can use to support a student in my classroom?
AI is already doing that, right? And so was that a question somewhere? Did they
It was in the chat, but I just wanted to break down the edu-speak in it. So I just tried to make it more like regular talk. But yeah, that's why.
So absolutely, it's already happening now, right? And so artificial intelligence is already creating personal learning roadmaps, right? And that have these adaptive platforms like Kamingo or Dreambox that analyze each student's strengths, regardless if you're in, regardless which class you're in or which, it really doesn't matter. Like, it identifies each student's gaps, the strengths, the pace, and it generates this daily plan, where they can watch videos or problems to practice or how to review certain things. So AI is already doing that now. The key is just it's not widely known and not every school district is embracing it. And to be honest with you, there's much more fear and trepidation around AI than there is embracing, right? And so, but we're folks who are every day that you don't use AI, think of yourself as being about 6 months behind. No kidding. You know, when I analyze how I leverage AI 6 to 8 hours a day, which is unusual, right? It's anomalous. It's not typical, but 6 to 8 hours a day, that's more than 99% of the folks who leverage AI in any way, right? And so, but what does that mean in terms of time? With those 6 to 8 hours a day, that translates to almost 7 to 10x, right? So those 6 to 8 hours is really about 60 to 70 hours, right? 80 hours of time that I have back. So yeah, I thought I'd share that.
No, that's really important to know. So I think I saw, Grace, you had your hand up at one point. Would you like to ask a question?
Grace, who I'm a parent. I'm on the DCPS Technology Advisory Committee, and I'm part of this parent volunteer group called Digital Equity in DC Education. We've been trying to help DCPS get to equitable tech access for the last couple years. So I will say on the digital literacy, I think DCPS is still trying to work out the basics. There's not really a standardized, consistent curriculum on digital literacy. And so I was wondering, are you aware of any organizations that DCPS can look to for best practices related to what Marla and Patricia just mentioned? Or are there any good models, like good school districts that, that we can look to as for a model? Because I think it'd be difficult for DCPS to figure it out on their own. So I'm wondering if there are resources we can point them to, like what are the best AI practices for teachers or whatever.
For sure. So there are, and I'm very curious about DC's path to embracing digital equity and digital literacy. So, but when you think about the Council for Exceptional Children or even CAST, Universal Design, what I can do is I can also put some of this in the chat. But hey, Bubba, I can also put some of that in the chat for you, right? And thank you, Bubba. It's almost bedtime, y'all. Almost bedtime. So, but I can put that in the chat with you for you. But when you think about the list of organizations, there's Council for Exceptional Children, CEC. There's Iris Center. Vanderbilt University actually did a pretty good study on special education and best practices. They have a huge network. If you go online, let me see if I can find the link, actually. If you go online, there's...
I'm looking for a link. If you could send those to me at some point, when
Perfect.
I see this about this recording out in our newsletter, I can put those links. So yeah, don't
Perfect.
try and multitask too much, okay?
Okay, no worries. Yeah, and I'll tell you, so, and the other part of the question, Grace, was the some of the school districts with some best practices. I will tell you, right up the street, we have to go potty. But right up the street, Montgomery County Public School is an excellent example of what we need to do. We gotta go potty. So,
and it's really interesting. Go.
Yep.
Go do that stuff. It's really interesting because I was talking to a colleague today who was talking about how her child at Montgomery in Montgomery County schools are using some of these tools in kindergarten. So I think it's interesting to see how people are embracing it. I also want to compare this to kind of the moment when calculators got introduced into classrooms, and some teachers were like, well, why would we give them a calculator? They need to do this. And honestly, there's no real computation that's going to ever happen in the world that wasn't going to use a calculator. So we were kind of making children do something that didn't make real world sense. And so I think we have to start to think about, how do we understand the world of the future, and their conceptual understanding, and being less concerned about their procedural understanding of things. I think we get really caught up on procedural understanding in schools. Okay, you're back.
Well,
okay, quick.
Temporarily.
Oh, that was quick.
Until he calls me. No, until he calls me back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Grace, did you want to add to that? Can we wait for him to gather some
Montgomery County. Yeah, you were
Yes.
talking about Montgomery County. Yeah.
Montgomery County. So they have a long-running UDL implementation plan that I definitely recommend to look at. LAUSD is another one. Good job, buddy. New York City is another one. And Charlotte, actually. Good job, buddy. It's time to go.
Okay.
All right. And Charlotte is the other one. Those two. But start with our backyard, literally Montgomery County. That's the first line of defense.
Okay. Are there other questions? And we will, when Joe Paul is not having too much task, ask him to assemble a number of resources for us to share. And we'll send that out. Other people, do we have questions around AI? And I think he said something around, so it's changing the face of the way we're thinking about reading literacy. And it's really for asking us to really delve deep into questioning, developing prompts, how we think about things, because that's going to in turn determine what information we're going to receive. Are there other questions that people may have, so we can have those ready when he returns? Okay. Well, there's a lot to know about this. And the world is changing so much. So I think people are being sensitive to the fact that you're doing daddy duty and trying to do this at the same time.
Thank you.
And so we're not going to keep you much longer. You said there was a assessment of some kind that people can go to your website and take this,
Yes.
so they can understand kind of where they are. Can you share that?
Absolutely. I'll add our website to the chat.
Okay.
And you know, if we can be supportive in any way, actually, let me see if I can do a hyperlink. I'll do that, and I'll also put together a message that you can share.
Oh, that'd be great.
Right, that you can share that should have some resources that people can look at, and even some prompt engineering best practices. You know, the truth is you have to try to break the thing, right? Ask it to do as much as you think it can't do, and you'll be extremely surprised by what it can do, right? So
Okay, so Carla talked about prompt engineering. Let's not assume people even know what that means. Tell us what that means.
So prompt engineering is a fancy way of saying how to ask the right questions, okay? How to talk to AI, okay? And the best way to talk to AI is truly like this. Don't get up to the computer or to AI and start typing in slowly or speaking slowly or I need your help with, no, this is a super computer. It can process information extremely fast. So talk to AI as if you talk to anyone. That's step one. Step two, use as many words as you need to. The more you share with AI, the closer it's going to get to your desired outcome. Okay, so you're saying, I need you to create an email, will frustrate you because it's going to do just that. But if you say, I need you to create an email to the CEO of a company detailing our quarter or second quarter progress, and I need you to include bullet points on things that we plan to implement. I mean, that's going to create exactly what you. So garbage in, garbage out. Remember that. That's right, buddy. And then last but not least, if it's not giving you what you want, break it down into pieces, right? Think about AI as if you're dealing with a human. You wouldn't just dump all the stuff on someone and say, hey, get this done now. You may break it down into pieces. You know, at the end, I know I need this finished product. So, and it's going to take these 4 steps. Break it down. Have AI say, okay, now first do step 1. Okay, great. We're good. Now step 2. So, but play with this. Prompt engineering simply is asking the right questions, and it's a fancy way of critical thinking. You know, when you peel an onion back, you're just going down the layer. You're asking more and more questions because you're trying to find information. And so try to break it, like legit. Try to ask as many questions and the toughest questions, and even ask it, am I asking you the right things, right? Because here's the thing, as AI is learning from us, we're learning from AI, right? And so I will ask my AI, I'll say, hey, is there anything I can do that will help you get to an answer faster, right? What do you need from me? Because that's important as well. I say, well, Joe, you could do A, B, and C, right? In some cases, and you have to press it because it's designed to like please us, right? It's designed to make us feel good so we can engage with it. But you have to test it, right? And if it's not acting right, tell it, you know, you're not acting right. Like I've done that before. I've said AI, I'm like, hey, you must be off your game. Like, what's going on? It's like, you know what, Joe, you're right. Let me take a chill pill. Let me relax and come back. Seriously, right? And I said, okay, great. And I also say, you know, accuracy is much more important to me than speed. While AI helps with speed, sometimes it's at the detriment of accuracy. And so what's critically important is that you verify, then trust. Don't just copy and paste stuff within AI. Don't just put information that you wouldn't want anybody to know into these large language models, right? Although they have some protections in place, just as a general matter, this is not something that you want to do. All right.
And it's the difference between using kind of the open tool and the subscription tools, right? I mean,
Well, so let me break it down. So, and I'll just use ChatGPT, and then that's it for real, y'all. All right. So,
yeah,
but I will come back. I will promise to come back. So,
no, you've done a
ChatGPT.
tremendous amount. Thank you.
So ChatGPT, right, has 3 levels. And a lot of these large language models like Claude, et cetera, have 3 levels. There's the free level, there's the plus level, and then there's the pro level, right? The free level, you can think of it as you have maybe 1 PhD on its 12 seats, right? 1 PhD, 4 college students, and the rest are high school or you know, or not, right? And so, and then maybe 2 of them might hallucinate every now and then, right? They might be on something. So then you look at the plus, which is $20 a month. You now have an even 6 PhDs and about 5 college students and 1 high school, right? And maybe one of the PhDs hallucinate, right? Or maybe on something. Now with the pro, which is $200 a month, right? You have all PhDs from the very best schools in the world, right? And multiple PhDs. And so when you think about it like that, that's who's working on your stuff. If you have free, that's what you're going to get. If you have plus, that's what you're going to get, right? And so if you have pro, you know, you get what you pay for. It's not right because that's another way of this digital inequity, right? That if you don't have resources, you won't have access, right? And at least not to the best. But you can still do a lot with that free. I'll just tell you that. But you've also spent more and less, right? $2,400 from my perspective, and you know, we pay that for the pro, $200 a month is an investment, right? For what we get back, it's an investment. I would never tell ChatGPT to charge me more, but you know, but it's a great deal.
Thank you, Joe Paul. We appreciate that. We look
Okay,
forward to you giving us some resources that you're going. I know it's going to come in avatar form. I know you're going to do that. But thank you for coming to us, sharing. And for those of you who work in schools and are on PTOs, please engage in this conversation with your school leaders. And, you know, tell them about Joe Paul, who'll come and talk to them about this and help them go through this journey with them. So OptimaNova AI. Thank you very much. Have a good one.
Thank you. Say bye to everybody. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate your patience and kindness. Take care.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
You bet.
Okay, everyone. So appreciate getting an overview because it is the world in which we live and we don't want to be left behind in this conversation. It's too important of one. Okay. Hold on. Trying to pull something up. Okay. Yeah. So, you know, I just want to say that there's just a lot of conversations about the future and the future emerging economies and how they're going to look. And so, you know, find your top 2 or 3 futurists and listen to their podcasts, and your top 2 or 3 economists and listen to their podcasts. I think it'll give you a lot of insight into how best to support your schools and your own particular children in terms of what the future is going to look like. It's a pretty interesting conversation out there. I don't want our community not to be engaged in it. Okay, so we're going to move quickly to other parts of our conversation. So we already had Joe Paul, and thank him for that. Now we're going to hear from our State Board Rep, Eboni-Rose Thompson, and she's going to bring us some State Board updates. Ebony, you want to come off? Are you able to come off in?
I'm here.
Yeah, I just want to ping you. I'm trying to ping you. There you are. Okay, appreciate it.
All right. Good evening. I'm in transit, everyone, but I'm not driving, so don't be concerned. If we have not met, my name is Eboni-Rose Thompson, and I do represent Ward 7 on the State Board of Education. We had our public meeting last night. A few things that you should know about what's going on with the board. So first, one of the things I really pushed for and thought was important was as we are undergoing this revision of the high school graduation requirements, for us to actually have a task force that includes public members to have a seat at the table. So that was approved last night. I look forward to reaching out to folks with more information about how parents, educators, students, other community members can be a part of that conversation. I believe it is the most important work we will do as a board this year because high school graduation really is like the second starting line in life. Like it is the thing that sets you up for post-secondary opportunities. It is the thing that prepare folks for career. And we want to make sure that our kids, as they matriculate through DC public schools and DC public charter schools, they do actually get that promise of being prepared for whatever they want to be in life. And so I do encourage people to participate and pay attention to this conversation. As far as our conversation last night, we had a panel around student safety. A lot of it focused on bullying in particular, some things around like cyberbullying. If folks want to weigh in on what they see as current problems or even better, current solutions, the record is still open. You can feel free to email me directly or submit written testimony to the board website. We also were supposed to vote on it's not a resolution, but transmitting the governance legislation to council. There was a move to table that vote. Some of the majority of the members, not me, feel like this is not the time to share that. We did do another addendum, I would say, to the governance report, which focuses on three areas. Those three areas are the state board should have great weight, similar to ANC commissioners. The state board should be able to make data requests and actually get a response from relevant agencies. And the state board should be able to initiate a policy that is within our statutory responsibilities. Again, that report has been approved, but the legislation has been tabled. So if you have an opinion about that, please not only reach out to me, but reach out to the larger board members, which it does mean it could come back up for a vote at a separate time. But we will see if the board has the appetite for that. Our next public meeting will be next month, and this topic, I believe, is actually on supporting homeless students. If you have opinions for who should be part of that conversation, we should engage as expert witnesses. Please do let me know because that panel has not been formed. So those are really the big things before the board. I think folks know that this is a particularly difficult budget season we're headed into. We have been asked as a state board, just like all agencies have been asked, to prepare some contingency plans around reductions, including things like where can we not spend furloughs. And so please be vigilant as the mayor budget comes. And pay attention to what that means for education spending overall. I have been told that a lot of the capital projects are not necessarily in jeopardy. I know the board is supposed to have some updates to its office space, and that project's still moving forward. But I do believe, especially with the Moody's downgrade that was announced yesterday, we, especially as Ward 7 residents, need to pay attention to what the city is able to spend both on the operations and capital side, because we have a lot of school modernizations that are still in the pipeline. Those are probably the most important things that I know to share with you all. And I like to have more good news, but I also like to be honest with folks. So graduation task force, good news. Everything else is a little bit chaos, and we're gonna figure it out together.
Thank you, State Rep. State Board Rep. I missed that part of it. Eboni-Rose Thompson for coming to give us some updates. Last month, we actually had the interim superintendent of IC, Dr. Mitchell, who I think now is officially the official superintendent. I know there was a confirmation. I don't know if it
They
meant
did a confirmation hearing yesterday. I don't know if they voted or not.
okay.
I think it's fair to say she's definitely acting.
Right.
I suspect Dr. Mitchell will be confirmed. I also should say, I'm sorry. So this weekend, if you have young people, the Office of Student Advocate and McFA Challenge are actually doing a youth summit. I did put it in my Instagram and Facebook stories. But all of the things that people typically talk about, everything from safety to transit and everything else is welcome at this conversation. I believe it's going to be in Northeast. I'll put the details for that in the chat. Yeah, it's at Trinity. That's where it is. But that's open to everyone and it's free. So please spread the word.
Thank you. And so what I was going to say is that last month, Dr. Mitchell actually came to the Ward 7 Ed Council to talk about the high school graduation requirements process and what things are under consideration and what they are potentially proposing. That is in a link to that was in our newsletter, as well as you can find the video on our Facebook page. But please note, you can get more information about that. As State Board Rep indicated, the downgrade in our Moody's rating does have implications for the amount of debt we can carry, and what rates we'll get with that debt, which means the dollars can't necessarily go as far. That does matter, as we have called for Ward 7 schools to be moved up on the modernization and renovation list, because we just feel like we've been waiting for so long for that, and for new capital projects in terms of any potential for additions to buildings, those types of things. So has significant impacts there. We know that the city is navigating a tough space in terms of the impact and the interference that Congress is having on the budget, as well as proposals like moving Medicaid reimbursement from 70% to 50%, which would add additional expense to and stress and strain on the DC budget. So this is going to be an interesting time. The mayor did officially put out a call to ask for people to start, for agents to start making their contingency plans in preparation for these the moments that it may be ahead of us. So all of that is on the table. All of that affects our communities. And then the last thing I want to talk about is, it's really an important time to have serious conversation with our young people around how they're engaging in community. We've seen how people who actually have a legal right to be here kind of be forcibly removed from the street and taken to other places. And we've heard that the president has indicated that he would like to do such same things with American citizens. And many people don't realize that if you are an adult and convicted of a crime here in the district, that you actually could be placed in a correctional facility anywhere in America, because we are not our own state. And if a young person is tried as an adult, they could be 16 years old and anywhere in the country. And with the kinds of threats that are on the table, who knows where else any of us could be. So we have to have real serious conversations with our young people about the changing landscape and what they may or may not have believed was the conditions in DC. Nationally, those have changed, and those are conversations we need to be having. Because we do not want to have a move toward that I grew up under. I grew up under the era of mass incarceration and extreme, everything was deemed criminal. So those are just, I think, important topics.
And
for-
Marla, can I say pretty quickly, because we've gotten questions about this.
Yes.
Not necessarily mass incarceration in the same way, I think that's an important point. But about guidance to schools as far as if ICE agents or others come. The OAG does have guidance around this, and that guidance has been shared with all schools. That includes DC public and charter schools. If folks are saying they do not know what to do, that is actually public information. You can go to the OAG's website. They provided guidance like this in 2016 under the first Cheeto presidency. And now that we have another Cheeto presidency, they have updated the guidance. And so for people who are concerned, that is available. DCPS, DC charters will continue to follow the law with regards to our immigrant student populations. And I know that there are folks who have called for public statements. Public statements have not happened, but there is public information that is readily disseminated. And so I do want folks to know what that resource is and where they can go to get it.
Yes. So again, critical times. We need to be having really tough conversations with our young people, really letting them understand the world in which we operate. And we don't protect them by not having these conversations and not sharing this information. We don't shield them. We actually leave them vulnerable. So with that being said, we are headed into our elections. In May, we intend to actually have elections. There is a nominations committee. And one of the committee members is going to give us an update of where we are in this process to prepare for elections in May. I think, Sharona, are you available? I know you are in another meeting. Trying to give you time to step out and speak. Everyone's doing a little bit of double duty tonight, so we appreciate you doing that here too. Okay. She'll be with us.
Yes, I am.
You're a little choppy, so, but it's weird because your sound is saying you're actually, okay, okay, go ahead. Go ahead, we can hear you now. I think it went frozen. Okay. We may or may not get an update tonight. Like I said, I know she's at another meeting. There's lots of meetings happening around issues of budget, what's going on, how it's going to impact various aspects of services in the district. And, Sharona is the manager of community affairs and engagement for DCPS. So she's an extremely busy woman. If we don't hear from Sharona and get a report, we'll ask that she send it to us and we'll make it a part of the follow-up to the newsletter so that people are aware of who is potentially slated for those positions. So thank you, Sharona. We appreciate you anyway. With that being said, I just want to remind everyone the elections are going to be at next month. We also will hear from DC Charter Board to hear about their new performance rating system and what is going to happen there. There's lots of events around education and education adjacent issues around the district and around the budget. So if anyone has one they want to bring to people's attention, I think Ebony brought one for this weekend. If you have others, please share now. Okay. And we want to remind you that we'll be hosting our PTO training in June. Christina Jones will be really working diligently to prepare and to really make sure that we have the most well-informed, connected PTOs in any ward in the city. Lots of important work happening there. And don't forget, we always want you to sign up for our committees, budget and finance, programs, communications and outreach, legislative and membership. And so, any final announcements of any kind? Okay. Well, this is the way you get in touch with us. We'll send out a newsletter to follow up with the resources that Joe Paul is going to provide to us. Make sure you go to his website, OptimaNova AI. Take kind of the AI readiness, friendliness test. And we look forward to seeing you out and about and soon next month. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Good
Good evening, everyone.
Good night.